Right, we are live with the first ever episode of a brand new struggle series. So recently I've been doing loads of research. I've been talking to a lot of different ladies about the most common problems that they're facing as a modern woman. And with that, I've decided to put together a series of videos tackling some of the reoccurring themes that I've learned. It's going to be about 10 videos. Each one's going to talk through a key issue that people have highlighted. Possibly more than 10 videos, depends on how many we get through. Because it's become my mission to try and inspire 500,000 ladies to do the work on bettering themselves and upgrading their lives. And I believe that it really is possible to have it all, and I'm here to train a new generation of women in how to do that. But to reach that number of women, I'm going to need a bit of help from you. So whenever you see one of these videos, I need you to share the shit out of it. Tag people that you think might like it, that might find it useful, share it in groups, share it on your pages, send it to your friends, just whatever you need to do to help me get this stuff out there and spread the message as much as possible. So with all of that said, we're going to start with episode 1, the first problem, the one that came up quite a lot, which is anxiety. Now, anxiety is a touchy subject. It's something that we see a lot of nowadays, and I want to try and deal with this as sensitively as I can. I have a lot of people in my life who I love dearly who have anxiety. I've dealt with anxiety myself at various points in my life, and I know it's becoming increasingly more common amongst the millennial generation of women. So as with most things, anxiety exists on a spectrum. You have the lower end and then you have the higher end, going from slight nerves around, say, something as simple as an exam, up to that higher end when you're going full-blown panic attacks, issues with going out, being around people, all very real things, and they can be really debilitating for many people. And anxiety can come in many forms, and it will manifest itself differently for every person. Some people may have an OCD, some people may have agoraphobia, some people may have a generalized anxiety disorder, some people may find it from stress, it could be a phobia. It's quite a broad term and it covers many different things. In terms of where it comes from, some research suggests that it can be a genetic trait that's inherited. Others say that it's down to chemical imbalances, very similar to things like depression, while others think it's a learned trait, something that you actually learn and develop based on experiences you have. I think it doesn't really matter why you have it or where it came from or how it happened. I think what actually matters is knowing how it works and what can actually be done about it. Because when you break it down, anxiety is a feeling. It's a feeling of fear, a feeling of unease, worry, uncertainty, which are all very normal things. But when they start to become something bigger, it can dramatically affect your physical and your mental well-being, and obviously the quality of your life. At the end of the day, feelings are energy. Okay, they're how your body understands. And if you've watched any of my podcasts or read any of my stuff, you will know a bit about this anyway. But feelings are the connection between the mind and the body. They bridge the gap. They're effectively a method of communication. Without your feelings, your body is nothing more than an empty vessel. Because feelings are energy, they therefore can't be good or bad. They are what they are. But it's our perception that creates issues with feelings. We like to label things, we like to give them names, and it helps to satisfy our need to understand. Because funnily enough, one of the biggest causes of anxiety is not knowing. And it's human nature to want to find out and to want to apply logic and to have things make sense. And those perceptions and the labels that we assign to our feelings come from experience. You've probably had a time where you felt something but not really known what it was. You're just aware of a feeling, of a sensation, but you don't actually know what it is. You can't put a label on it, and that's because it's not tied to an event or an experience that you've had. Whereas familiar feelings, things that you have quite often, can easily be linked back to an event. And because the brain works through association for ease of processing, similar experiences can trigger similar feelings. It's all about data processing and links between the brain, the body, and how everything works. So anxiety then, at its root, is a feeling, meaning it's nothing more than energy. And I mean this in a scientific manner, not in an anxiety doesn't matter kind of way, because anxiety is very powerful and it does affect people's lives, and you can't argue against that. But I want you to understand this from a non-emotional, non-biased standpoint, that anxiety is energy. So energy cannot be destroyed or created. It can only be transferred or transformed, which means you can't fight your anxiety, you can't try and destroy it, you can't break it down. The only way to effectively deal with it is to shift the energy elsewhere or to turn it into something else. And the best way of dealing with that is to let it pass, let it work out on its own, which means accepting it and sometimes even leaning into it a little bit. Because when you lean into something, you take the edge off of it, it becomes more familiar, and the familiar is less scary. If you're in the Limitless Living group, you will have heard me talk about this when we covered fear in the Fatal 4 challenge. The process of just leaning into something a little bit to take the edge off and to reduce the fear, that's massively powerful, and it's something that can be done with anxiety. You can find a place of stillness and silence and just do some simple breath work that can help quicken the process of actually getting over it and letting it pass rather than obsessing over it. Because when that anxiety hits you and you feel it coming, you get lost in it and you start putting energy into it and obsessing over it. And as you already know, when you focus on something and you give it more energy, it grows and it increases in its potency. So what we need to do is do the opposite. We need to starve it of that energy and then direct it elsewhere until it passes. It's quite complex stuff that we're talking about here. So hopefully I'm explaining this well enough, and it gives you an idea of how it works. So just let me know in the comments if you're getting this and if this is making sense to you. And if it is making sense to you and you want to take it a step further and you want to be one of the people who are able to get past their anxiety to beat it for good, then you have to start training the mind, you have to start training the emotions, you have to train the body. All of these things work together as a systemized unit. And when you train all of them, you become more and you become greater than what it is you're used to experiencing. You become greater than that anxiety, and it's something that no longer bothers you. So if that's something you're interested in learning more about, I want you to follow the link that is going up in the comments just now. And I want you to get on the phone and spend some time with me. We'll talk about your experiences with anxiety, your experiences with anything, and then we'll figure out what the key issues are for you, what you need to do to get past them, and then get you on this path to being able to have it all. So remember to share this, particularly if you know someone who does struggle with anxiety. Pass it on to as many women as you can, and then look out for video number 2, which is going to come on Saturday. And if you think we're on the same page, use that link and get yourself on a call with me and we'll have a chat. Other than that, I'll see you on Saturday for episode 2.